Alrighty everyone, welcome back. Ever since Star Wars Celebration, we've had a handful of announcements provided by Disney and Lucasfilm, mainly focusing on Star Wars returning to the cinema. We have, of course, Dawn of the Jedi, the Rey-centered Star Wars film, as well as the Dave Filoni Star Wars movie that's going to open up to becoming a trilogy that's going to focus on the age of the New Republic era, basically all Mandoverse characters coming to the big screen. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future Star Wars updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you all so very much for the great and kind support. Now, given that there's a lot of things happening between Daisy Ridley and the Rey announcement lately, between that and the fandom, a lot of fans have been expressing a lot of criticism toward the character's return, as well as Daisy coming back, and she's been responding on and off about exactly how she feels about the fan criticism, how she feels about the negativity being pretty much, spread across all different platforms on social media. And she had a couple of things to say and how she feels about the fan base, really kind of communicating in such a way. Now, we know that Stephen Knight, I don't know if you guys knew, but he's the writer of the Rey-centered film. He's got about 5 weeks and counting left to revise and finish the script. He'll be finished around by this May, and they're really wrapping this script together to begin filming by the end of this year. That's their overall goal. But anyways, guys, let's get right into what Daisy Ridley had to say. Now, we know that Daisy Ridley has been a little bit more, I guess you could say, a little aggressive toward the fans, providing this criticism and providing this, series of negative, opinions based on the character's return and stuff around those lines. Anyways, with that being all done and said, with Daisy Ridley set to return as Rey in the upcoming film being written by Stephen Knight, she is also set to appear in a post-Episode 9 series led by John and Dave that will completely reinvent her character. Now, in a recent interview that Ridley gave, she went on to respond to the wide criticism of her return again by, of course, stating the following. Now, Daisy went on to actually express, "I am just not surprised at how the fans have been responding to the announcement of my return. I'm actually quite disgusted with how some fans are reacting to my announcement. Sure, JJ and Ryan had some challenges with my character in the past, with the sequel films, but what Steven is doing with my character arc right now in the upcoming project is just spectacular. He really is creating this whole new side to Rey, and I think it's just very lazy for some fans, for many fans, to immediately deliver a negative critique on how Rey will be executed in this massive project that we have been working on for so very long now. Maybe wait until you guys see a trailer or the movie itself and then a wave of criticism I could understand. Then I could understand why fans are giving certain negative views on my character. But I say wait until you see any kind of footage or the movie itself." Now let me just stop right here for 1 second. Now, I think the main reason why so many fans are expressing this criticism has a lot to do with what they saw in the sequel trilogy movies and how it reminds them of Kathleen Kennedy's failure with those films, Rian Johnson, J.J. Abrams, all these different aspects of the sequels, and it's just a reminder of that. I think that's the main reason why a lot of fans are turning their heads away from this Rey movie. But it's not just that. There's a lot of fans, whether you want to believe it or not, that do not like this character, did not like the writing of this character. It's nothing against Daisy Ridley herself personally. It's just that there's a lot of fans out there that had issues with the character's writing and how she was established, especially in The Force Awakens, so very fast. And when you look at it in like that light, right, how she got no training by Luke and she was able to do all these different things right off the bat, you have Daisy Ridley here kind of putting things out there that Stephen Knight supposedly is creating a different side to Rey that's going to satisfy fans. Now, again, is that a lie, or is that some kind of marketing technique to kind of get fans into the theater, or is Stephen Knight actually doing something like that? That still remains a mystery. We know that John and Dave are reinventing the character completely in their post-Episode 9 show. That's one thing. But Stephen Knight is another thing. I'm not quite sure if he's doing anything as far as reinventing the character goes. We'll have to wait and see until that movie arrives in theaters. So, I don't know how your overall stance is on this. You know, what you think about Daisy Ridley and what you think about her really kind of getting back at the fans criticizing her in this way by saying how, you know, it really is way too soon to criticize something before you've seen a shred of footage and stuff like that. But I digress. She goes on to continue to elaborate. Because criticizing my return this early on is just crazy, she says. I will continue to focus on my work and that alone with Steven and just filter out the negative waves from fans. This is why some time ago I just flat out gave up on social media, specifically Instagram. It's all just too toxic for me, and it's best to focus on the projects I'm involved in, to provide fans the best experience possible as an actress for this character. Mr. Knight has some pretty wild surprises coming your way with this movie and has already discussed how the movie will end with me, and it's just shocking is all I can really say. He's still revising the script and will be finishing it by this May. Now, again, the thing about the race-centered film is that we know that this movie is going to take place 15 years after the events of Episode 9, so some time has passed. But what's also official is the Jedi are still in disarray. Alright, and some fans may not like that storyline of how they're still to this day in disarray. 15 years is a very long time. You would think that, you know, Rey would have had enough time to have rebuilt the Jedi Order by then. But anyways, this story, basically what it's about is it's rebuilding the Jedi Order, not that it's going to be built right from the get-go of the film. So I think that fans may or may not be tired of that plot of the Jedi being in disarray and stuff like that. We'll have to wait and see how they execute this. Again, I think fans have valid reasons why they're already providing criticism. I don't think it has anything to do with not seeing a shred of footage or anything like that. It's nothing against Daisy. It's just that fans were not happy with this character in the sequels entirely, and they just want to see something brand new or something that's going to be fresh right from the start. And it's just a reminder of the sequels. I think that's the main problem that fans are having right now. Again, some of you out there may love Rey, may love the character of Rey herself, and I will agree that there's parts of that character that I too love, but there's also a lot of parts of that character that I heavily criticize to this day, you know, and have never changed my opinion on that. So overall, I would really like to hear, you know, what you guys think about Daisy here, because the Rey-centered film, by the way, it is going to be a full feature film, very high budget. They want to make sure that this is going to be like a blockbuster film, that they want to make sure also that it's going to stand on its own, that it's really going to have a different tune, or tone, I should say, than the sequel trilogy movies. That's another thing that Steven Knight is focusing on, is by changing up the tone of this movie to not make it feel like a sequel trilogy movie. So it's going to have a different feel to it, just like how Rogue One has its own feel, how Andor's got its own tone, Mando has its own feeling as well. That's what Steven Knight will be doing with the Rey-centered film. So, yeah, I mean, this is an ongoing process. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about all of this, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you also very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.